Some real politics now, and as we speak, 133 days from the election, and the president, he's got a narrow 2.5-point lead when you look at all those poll averages, you put it in a composite, and a 50-point lead in the RCP Electoral College estimate. Again, they take a bunch of different polls and also a bunch of different maps. They figure out which one's going red and blue, and they say right now, both on the popular vote and the electoral vote, the president's got a narrow margin here, but they could be wrong. The election, it headlines in our region today, and they're not on the presidential variety, but rather the headlines are about House and Senate primaries in the Empire State. And the headline race among three Republicans looking to challenge to unseat Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who's the overwhelming favorite with whoever emerges. But the three Republicans of note here are conservative attorney Wendy Long, and she's going against sitting Congressman Bob Turner, who took over Anthony Weiner's seat, and Nassau County Controller George Maragos. But with a relative yawner of a race at the top of the ballot and no statewide race for Democrats today, turnout's always low for primaries, but it's unusually low today, which means you could have some upsets and you could have some consequences as a result. And this could be pretty embarrassing, not just for Republicans, but for Democrats, too. We're going to get into analysis in a second. But, Andrew, take us through the races here that people are going to be talking about tomorrow.
Only a handful of races today, Rich, that are contested on Long Island or upstate, and none that really merit any discussion. So we'll start in Queens with a Democratic primary in the 6th District. Grace Meng has the backing of Governor Cuomo and of retiring Congressman Gary Ackerman. City Councilman Rory Lansman has the support of the Queens Democratic Party. And City Councilwoman Elizabeth Crowley has been endorsed by local police and firefighters unions. So it seemed to be a race between Meng and Lansman. In Brooklyn, the focus is on the 8th Congressional District, where almost every big-name Democrat is lined up behind Assemblyman Hakeem Jeffries, who's up against the always controversial City Councilman Charles Barron. Next, we head north to Harlem's 13th District, something we haven't seen in years, if not decades, a potentially close primary for the third longest-serving member of the House, Charlie Rangel. Rangel in his first primary today since being censured by the House. He is squaring off against State Senator Adriano Espaillat. Further north, we get to the Republican primary in the 17th District, covering Westchester and Rockland counties. Joe Carvin's camp worried the low turnout could swing his primary towards Jim Russell, who lost to incumbent Nita Lowey in 2010, thanks in part to Russell's writings about racial and religious separation. And finally, the lower Hudson Valley's 18th District, where 5 Democrats seek the chance to knock off freshman Congresswoman Nan Hayworth. Polls across the state closing at 9 p.m. tonight, Rich.
All right. Richard, you know Charlie Barron from your time in New York politics here. He's always an entertaining interview, but Democrats do not want him to be the nominee. And among other things, he said some really offensive things over the years about Jews, about whites, about more than a few different ethnic groups here.
About some fellow African Americans.
Absolutely.
He's a very bright, very charming guy who says some things that just make your hair stand on end. And unfortunately, he knows he's doing it. These are not outbursts. He's being contested with a guy named Hakeem Jeffries, who's very smart, has a very good ability to reach out across constituencies, is well-spoken and thoughtful. And I think there's been a sense that it really matters that Brooklyn send a bridge builder rather than a firebrand.
Troublesome for the Democratic Party if Barron winds up getting the nomination?
If he continues to do what he's done in the past, he attracts attention by saying things that just aren't right, fair, or good. His wife serves in the legislature. She's a very bright and able lady with a great deal of patience, I might add. But Hakeem, who is the organization choice, is no easy mark. He's tough, he's bright, he's young, he's been planning this for some time. My guess is that Hakeem will win it.
People love Barron in his district, but it will be a nightmare if he wins the nomination for Democrats.
He enjoys putting the stick in the eye. It's not just the backtracks.
Yes.
All right. You know, I never thought, Dominic, even with all the troubles, Charlie Rangel, for all the people who lined up to get him, would have a fight on his hands. But it seems some people are tired of bad headlines, regardless of all the seniority and all the time that is put into D.C.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. The district is now a majority by a slight margin, more Latino. But I really don't see this as let me say this, the power of incumbency is extremely strong, as Richard can attest to. I don't think Charles Rangel is going to lose tonight. The establishment, the Democratic establishment in New York City has lined up in support of him. It's going to be very interesting, but I think he's going to win tonight.
And Andrew, real quickly here, when we're talking about Westchester, we had Ed Cox here, chairman of the Republican Party, who told you very clearly Carbon was his guy. He did not want Russell. It's conceivable today, if Mr. Russell, who made some news on this set with some of, let's say, a disagreeable interview that we had, if he's the nominee, the GOP could all but throw their hands up and say we want nothing to do with it.
Ed Cox basically tried to say, I don't even know who Jim Russell is. He knows we basically disowned him. It's just, it would be terrible for the party, and it would almost be a guaranteed loss in November.
I think it'd be terrible for New York, wherever that's worth.